Good evening, happy campers. This is Jerry Dunn calling or talking, and just wanted to share with you a little bit about the type of camping that I do. I call it duffel bagging. It's a very different kind of camping. I don't do mountaineering. I don't pack a sleeping bag and a bunch of gear into a backpack and hike up into nowhere. Nope, I don't do that. So what I do is I pack a duffel bag, 130 liter duffel bag, and I pack my tent, my cot. Yes, you heard right, I pack a cot in there, which I'll show you, as well as blanket and as well as the some of the other stuff that I have out there. Anyway, the long and the short of what I do is I come in here and looks like an owl just flew into my my campground. That's kind of cool. Oh, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Anyway, here's the car, and there's a place for the car to park. Let's start walking toward and discovering some of the other things that America's national parks have, especially the ones that have bears. We have two types of bears in Rainier. We have grizzlies, which eat people, and we have black bears, which don't eat people. And anyway, anytime you camp, you never leave food, you never leave anything with a scent in a car or in a tent, because animals, particularly bears, especially black bears, will come and try to get it from you. And so the National Park System provides us with these steel lockers that have an interesting locking system, and you can kind of see how you get into it. By that means, you have to slip your hand underneath. In other words, a bear is not intelligent enough to do that, or its paws can't slip underneath like a human's can. But anyway, here's a little bit of verbiage from the National Park System telling you about the bear locker and how you need to keep food stored away from your tent and away from your vehicle. If you do something stupid like leave a candy bar, a Snickers bar, in a vehicle, and a bear crashes through your rear window and tears the inside of your vehicle out, the one thing you don't do is go crying to the park ranger, because it's an automatic $500 fine if you do. So you've been warned. Anyway, let's mosey on over here to my picnic table. These come standard with every campground in National Park Services. And so on top of that is my my Goal Zero, which I charge this lovely camera and all my electronics gear. And then here's the bag, the 130 liter bag that I put everything in. And again, everything, and I do mean everything: tent, cooking ware, toilet paper, clothes, cot, blankets, pillows. All of that has to go into this one bag, because it's going to go on an airplane, and it has to somehow weigh less than 50 pounds. Otherwise, you're going to be charged or possibly refused at the check-in counter at the airline. So fortunately for me, I was under the 50 pounds that I'm allotted, and the airline only charged me $30 for my 50 pounds. So that works out rather nice. Another thing I do, make sure I turn this off so you don't see the combination, but I keep a combination lock. That's to keep the bag handlers down below deck from getting into my stuff and stealing. There are fancier duffel bags out there that have pockets, but the problem with pockets is anybody can unzip them and they can steal your stuff, and they will, and they do. So the idea is to get a bag that doesn't have pockets. Everything goes in one container, and everything is locked up nice and tidy, so that you can travel freely. Some more stuff that I do. I need a national park pass, a must-have. They're $80 for an annual visit, and if you plan on going to national parks, several of them, like I am this particular trip, these pay for themselves, because admission is about $80 just to get into one park. So you buy a pass, you can go into as many parks as you want for that $80. Another thing I carry, this is something that I put in my my luggage container. I don't know why it fell out, but this is an opportune time to show you. ebags.com creates this wonderful tag that leaves you anonymous. And if anything, if the bag should be lost or whatever, the airline knows to scan this Q code or whatever they call it, and the Q code will then, with the app that they have, tell them that this belongs to Jerry Dunn. This is his phone number. Here's where you can contact him. Here's his mailing address and his email and all that. I can keep this stuff anonymous too, and I can control everything that's on this Q code by an app that eBags gives me, and I can switch the stuff off so that the bag handlers, again, below cannot see my personal information. Again, it's just kind of a way of keeping me anonymous. So that's part of how I do what I do. I have a lot of electronic gear that I carry with me, and it constantly needs recharging. So what I have here is what's called a Goal Zero Venture 70. And the beauty of this is I can get up to 7 charges on a single device here like this, 7 charges of my iPhone. And of course I have other things. I've got GoPros like what I'm recording this with, and all kinds of neat stuff that enables us to have a good time and see what I'm doing, and takes excellent pictures. I won't go there though. Anyway, let's mosey on over to the tent. The tent is what's known as a Coleman. Yes, you heard right. Jerry Dunn purchased a Coleman tent. Don't turn your nose up at them. Coleman is highly revered in England, and of course everybody knows I travel there rather frequently. And this is the closest thing I could find in America to a British tent. So this has some things that British people come to expect from a tent, and let's talk about some of those features. So one of the things that you can do is it has what's called a front porch. Now this is a little different here in America than what they have in England. This porch would be completely enclosed. It wouldn't be using mesh, but British people like to have a front porch, and it's a great place to take off your shoes. Of course, rain is never an afterthought in England. It's always at the forefront of their thinking, and a porch is a great place to shed all of your wet clothing should you pitch the tent in wet weather, rainy weather, and then have to get out there and get back in the tent. And the idea of the porch is you keep all your wet gear on the porch, and you go into your tent and you're completely dry, and you're not bringing wetness in where you sleep. You're not getting it on your sleeping bag, your blankets, your pillows, the floor, practically everything that's inside of the tent. So that's one of the things that the Brits have come to expect. Another thing that's really popular in England, let's kind of open up the tent here. Okay, this particular tent has what's called dark room technology. Brits like to keep their kids sleeping, and sometimes people like to nap in the middle of the day, or they like to just sleep in. This gives you an idea just how dark a dark room tent is. And it uses some kind of special coating on the inside of the fabric and keeps all the daylight out. I mean, we're at the peak of day right now, about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is very dark. Now you can see my cot. That cot disassembles into a very small bag that goes into my duffel bag, and I sleep under blankets. I do not use sleeping bags because they're, let's just explain it in this way. Who do you know that sleeps like a mummy? Who sleeps with their arms at their side, or with their arms, crossed over their chest? Nobody does. People like to lay on their side. They like to toss and turn. They like to get a good night's sleep and be able to move around and not be constrained by a mummy bag. So what I use is a Northwestern's shepherd's blanket called a yakima, by a company called Pendleton USA. That tiny little pillow that's sitting on top of that, all of that is, the pillow is a thermarest, and it's compacted right now. I can unzip it, and it folds out into a regular sized pillow. Very great technology. As you can tell, I keep things to a minimum here. I keep my windows open when I can because I like to breathe cold night air when I sleep. And there's the cot, and like I said, that thing folds up very small, and it's from Big Agnes, and it's called the Helinox Light, and it's very light and it's low to the ground. The idea is you're not sleeping on the hard cold ground, which absorbs all of your body heat and sucks it right out of you and makes you cold at night. You're elevated off of the ground, but yet you're not on a mattress where you're squishing all over the place. You know, if you're a 200+ pound man like me, and you get on one of these inflatable mattresses or one of these foam hybrid mattresses, they always deflate and they crinkle and they make a lot of noise, and I'm a light sleeper, and well, it just doesn't work out. So there you go. That is the tent and the sleeping system that I use. And this kind of camping is good everywhere. Let's talk a little bit about price. So to sleep in a nice camping ground like this that's got toilets and whatnot, it's only costing me $20 a night versus paying anywhere from $150 to $300 a night. And camping is a better way to go if you want a good night's sleep. That's just my opinion. But anyway, that's all for now. I'll take a deep dive into cooking here in a little bit. Talk to you later. Bye.